Good morning, Tony Dattino. I am the founder and chairman of the USA Memory Championship. And to me, Memorial Day is a time of reflection and a time of thinking of the people who have sacrificed their lives for the freedoms and the benefits that we have. And not getting too crazy about it, but I'm not one to say let's run out and get to a sale day on Memorial Day. It's more of let's stop and reflect on our lives and the people that have been important to us that may not be with us any longer, and what they've given to us in their life and the differences that they made. So I'm thinking this morning of the USA Memory Championship, and one of the key players in that event was Ed Pinson. And Ed was Karen Pinson's husband, and Karen happens to be my daughter. And so as she was off at college and coming back and living off of the Rutgers campus and finishing up her college degree, a roommate of hers' brother and Ed were retiring from the military. And Ed and Karen got to meet at that point in time and just built up a relationship that lasted until his passing, which was more than 25 years. Which is fairly remarkable in this day and age, that people can have a relationship and just love one another and care for one another so long, and just on passing, it just leaves so many fantastic memories. Well, Ed left quite a few memories on me, and the work he did in the USA Memory Championship. And it can start from always passing through. And then he was a brilliant man, a great strategizer. I always think of him when you were going to pack a trunk or pack a garage of things, and how well organized and how systemic he was in doing it. Well, he was in that same capacity, one of my key team members on the USA Memory Championship, and especially in our early years, and what the events would be and how long we should make them and what the competition may be. And we'd always run things by Karen and Ed, and she and Ed would then size these events up and talk about. So if we're giving people, pictures of names and faces, and we were going to give them how many minutes and what to do for recall, what would that look like, and where would we get the pictures? And so when you think about, our events, it was seamless, and that was because Ed and Karen were just seamless in what they would organize and where they'd go find the pictures and how they put them on pages and how many pages and how many names and faces and where would we go get the names and faces. And then, of course, Karen did a tremendous amount of work in putting that all together, and Ed would look at how we were going to run the event. So when we were doing live events for just about 20 years before COVID shut us down and we pushed us over to the virtual events, Ed would be, okay, here's what we got to do, here's where we got to go, and here's how the sequencing of the events would fit. And he would walk around, he was our judge, it was our timer, and he would say, okay, and the competition begins, and he would walk the room and make sure everybody was doing what they should be doing. If anyone needed help, he'd be the one to jump there. He was the great arbitrator. If we ever needed something the solutioned out or resolved because there was some bit of a conflict, Ed was the right person to get the parties involved, to get to a friendly solution and in a positive way that would keep the spirit of the Memory Championship alive, which was anyone could compete in this, and anyone could improve their memory if they desired, they wanted to do so. And he was a big believer in that, a big supporter of that. And so whenever we had these, when we had our any blips that were in the event, and I would assure you there were blips in the events, and we've just about had them in every single year because of the diversity of locations and people and things of that sort. But he would organize the volunteers, and he would take them off and go through the rulings and the disciplines, and he'd be the person with Karen organizing the scorekeeping and how we were going to score each event, and looking at any spelling or any disagreements among the scoring pages. He was the coordinator of looking at what to do and how to score it. And so, God, do I miss him. And I don't talk about it very much, but by God, he was an integral part of Karen's life, but he was also an integral part of knowing that my daughter had somebody in her life that was truly special and unique. And we got to see that at the Memory Championship. And every single year when we had bumps and rules. But rules, God, was Ed a master at making sure we knew what the rules were, and everybody had the rules, and he knew those rules inside and out, and he could just, mediate any questions and/or challenges or anything that would keep the event moving. It was very fluid, and we looked like brilliance because of the work he would put into the background. And yet he always wanted to remain in the background. He was not one of these people that did a lot of the work and said, it's about me, it's about me. It was never, ever about him. It was always about the mental athletes. And he built up some fun relationships with the mental athletes. I know Ronnie White, who won the championship on several years. He and Ed were just buddies, military buddies together, right? Ronnie serving our country as well, and Ed would just go off. Chester Santos and Ed were just amazing in terms of the friendship that they had built and the care. But Ed built friendships with all of our mental athletes. There was nobody that was either too good or too bad or whatever for him. And his relationships with the mental athletes, because he looked at them as the stars of the event. They were the people that were propelling the message across the country that anyone could do this. And his passion and commitment for that, even as his cancer began to take over his body, he was at the events. He was trying to do whatever he could. There were times when he just would need to sit a little bit more, and getting up and about and trying to coordinate all the different pieces started to fall onto Karen. And to her blessing and to her being terrific as well, she would just pick up wherever she could and help support him and do what they could. And then granddaughter Patricia Pinson would be with them, and the family of Patricia and Karen and Ed would work together as any family you would just want to do. And Ed was the guidance of that. And I do miss him. We're going into our 24th USA Memory Championship this year, and boy, we're doing virtual. I'm not sure how Ed would be on a virtual event, but he certainly would be a critical part of looking at what the events are and making sure they were demonstrating the right principles of memory that we wanted to do, and we were allowing the right timing and who was registering. I mean, again, a lot of background work that he did with Karen that just never appreciated, because our events just always seemed to run seamless, and if there was a bump, it would be Karen, Ed, and he'd take over in many cases and just do it. And yet here he was serving our country for a military career that took him to a whole lot of places, and even being a guard for Ronald Reagan as president. Ed worked as one of his security guards, and the stories that he just kept to himself. He was never one to boast and to share, his hero stories, as I would learn and call them. And so on this Memorial Day in the year 2023, his passing a year ago, certainly as we go into our second year of not having him be with us, was just the time that I was reflecting on how valuable he was and he'd been to the USA Memory Championship. So those are my moments. I get a little bit teary-eyed about it, and thank goodness he cared for my daughter as well as he did, and my granddaughter, who he treated like an angel, and the love and the care that he showed to them, my dad could never want for anything more. Well, with that, let me stop. I'm getting a little choked up, as you may tell, and I just wanted to get out there and say, on this day, it's not talking about the the games and the events and the different elements to brain health. It's really focusing on someone that is absolutely crucial and critical to the 24 years of the USA Memory Championship.